The great pure country female emperor recruited an incompetent man to be her husband, but did not expect her husband to be a man who traveled through space. Since coming to this world, I have owned the system. You create a volume, Journey to the West, plus 100 uneducated truths. You read a page of the 4 books of the 5 sutras, plus a righteous point, plus a year of cultivation. Since I've crossed over to this familiar director's novel, I've read a novel that can also be a monk. Fortunately, I'm just an anonymous pawn in this novel. Looking at this color of the sky, my wife must be coming back soon. I have to quickly cook red apple porridge for her. As Company Land predicted, a moment later at the palace gate, a carriage stopped. From the carriage, 2 beautiful women got down. One of them was Wu Yen, County Land's wife, but the truth was she is the reigning emperor. But she hid her identity and went everywhere looking for talents to save the country. The other one is Tiu Hai, her trusted servant. The princess has returned. Haven't she been to the Moon Sutra for a few days? I have cooked red apple porridge for her to replenish her energy. Wu Yen, holding a bowl of porridge in her lap, also felt funny because of this excessive concern. She spoke up. County Land is studying. She should have eaten more nutritious food than me. Xiao Shi, looking at you so tired. You should also eat some red apple porridge. At this time, Tu Hai quietly refused. No need for a young master. When I see this bowl of porridge, one think of the people living in the temple today, hungry to the point of no longer human. I find them pitiful. At this time, the butler Yang asked, "Are these strays from Guangzhou?" "No. They come from the southern border, which is having a drought." This novel he had memorized. He remembered in the novel that it was emphasized that in 3 years the southern border was constantly in drought and then suffered from all kinds of natural disasters that made the people destitute and desperate. Extremely miserable, Miss Lang. How do you know the southern border has a drought? In this drought, the special envoy of Zhang Tianti rushed to the road, flying with his sword nonstop. This afternoon, I just came to tell me, trying to spread does not care about life, only reading sage books, how to know the news so quickly. Lang laughed, haha. I'm just guessing, but this shouldn't be known to others, our family members know it's okay. All of this should not spread to the outside world. The housekeeper, Duong, suddenly sighed. The son of heaven was unfilial. The god vented his anger. The emperor of our family was the one holding good cards and playing stupid. The great minister in the court was a talented person, but he encountered bad people. The emperor only knew how to practice all day. On the other side, Tu Hai said, "Old Duong, hanging out on the street is not trustworthy. If the female emperor is not Min Quan, then since Dai Tin started the country, there will not be many. Min Quan, natural disasters are not the unscrupulous sons of heaven, but the fate of the great. Purity is about to end. The female emperor doesn't seem to care much about the government, but in fact, all orders are people who borrow the names of the elders. The public is issued. It's just that people don't know. The female emperor in the inner palace cultivation of the way is also just a fake story. In fact, he is no longer at the palace long ago, but is outside looking for a way to save the fate of the great. Purity." Fu Yen next to her heard County Lawn say, "The national town is about to run out. I just feel a shock." But when I finally heard County Lawn say that the empress hasn't entered the palace for a long time, she was also scared because she was an old woman at home. Tai had already guessed that the emperor was not at home, but this matter only the emperor and the 2 close palace ladies knew. How could County Lawn know he already knew? His identity, just not to be exposed. Fu Yen was tense. Her heart was confused. Her hands unconsciously clenched. "Ko Lang, do you know where that woman went to find a way to save the country?" Lang immediately laughed and said he didn't know. He really didn't, although he might know all about the background of the characters in this world. But where the king went, the novel hadn't been written yet. Fu Yen immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Tomorrow his identity has not been revealed. If he did not step into the human world again, this year would be a waste. Fu Yen pondered for a moment. Her eyes full of curiosity asked, "Gee, you Lang, this drought is very serious. You wander around hungry. You rest after the courts. Disaster relief can solve the problem. This or not." Dai Tin's hoarding food for disaster relief was actually still enough, but who would have thought that it would be fine without disaster relief? On the contrary, after distributing food for disaster relief, the southern border took place again. The popular uprising was not small. Why is this matter? Fu Yen's beautiful face turned pale and unconsciously asked. At this moment, she completely ignored how Ji Lang could predict the future. "I only know the reason why this happens." Ko Lan took a sip of porridge while looking at her wife. "Because the disaster was caused by man." Ko Lan thought for a moment and then continued. "There are not many loyal servants in the court, but many false gods. Some of these deities are dissatisfied with the queen, some are just, because of pure greed. The emperor is too busy saving his fate to fail, not paying attention to these small details. Can only be said to be a bit stupid. The emperor realized this was too late. No wonder the relief budget in previous years was always more than expected. In the end, it was still not enough. It turned out that there were crooks who dared to destroy Dai Tin's fortune right under our eyes. After Ko Lan finished eating, he put down his chopsticks and continued to talk. Say something. Now in the south, that guy stole money from people, but he didn't pretend, just greedy. The general said he was a marquis? That's right, she's smart. Her eyes, Mu Vuyen, now filled with anger. She did not expect that the southern border would have such a large rat. Can't wait for Mac Vuyen to immediately stand up, trying to be a little tired, so he went back to his room. Ko Lan immediately stood up, full of heart to speak. I was too careless. It was late at night. During the day, the princess was already struggling about the business in the house. Hurry back and rest. After the two women left, the system's sound rang in Gulan's ears. He entered the first chapter of this world. Cultivated plus 1,000 years. Obtained Confucianism, occultism, and harvest. Being told by Huyen Tien Kai to Hong Mong Kim, harvest spiritual medicine X10. Seeing the reward, County Lang was so happy that he could only utter two wonderful words. This reward is so delicious. Perhaps I have discovered the great door of this world. Just revealing the details of this novel in advance will receive a richer reward. At present, my cultivation is 2,000 years old, Confucian holy scene. It seems that the holy barrier is already the pinnacle of this world, but this novel doesn't mention how much the main character's final scene is, so practice more just in case. In the bedroom, Mac Vuyen just returned, prepared a piece of the poem to get to Thieu Hai. You take it and go south. If someone else goes, I don't feel secure. All right, Your Majesty. I would like to ask Your Majesty how the nobles involved in this matter should handle this. Mac Vuyen, with a beautiful face filled with murderous intent, spoke up. Once determined to be true, will kill without pardon. The subordinates understood. Thieu Hai received the order and left. After Thieu Hai left, Mac Vuyen fell into contemplation. County Lan, who was the old eunuch, talking about 5 days later at the southern border, Lang Chao Citadel. Thieu Hai used the excuse to come home to come here. Tomorrow is the day when the court distributes food and food relief through the palace, verifying. Tonight in Kwok, who invites the royal family to drink wine. There must be something bad. Tonight, you infiltrated in Kwaku's residence, following the plan. The subordinates immediately received orders to follow. At night, the inside of the palace is brightly lit, beautifully decorated. The banquet table is as long as a dragon, and there are countless delicious dishes. A man with a big belly wearing a brocade shirt is a haojia. The people around him were drinking some alcohol. The two governors of the district. The court's food will arrive tomorrow. Do you know what to do? Ha! You can rest assured, the old rules. The two lower officials understand. The Trifu laughs and replies. 2 portions are for other untouchables. 3 we leave to sell at high prices. The other 5 are for your own sake. Ha! Very good. Very good. The servant was smiling happily when someone kicked in the door. At this time, Thieu Hai led people in, making everyone their surprise. At this time, Thieu Hai spoke. Few adults eat too frugally bear meat. Do you know people in Nam Quang? Want to come? Grass? No food. The Trifu said again. What does it matter what the people eat? The Hao family, who was drunk, asked who they were. At this time, the Trifu spoke up. Where did your little girl come from? You are very similar to a scoundrel who just slept with his mandarin a few days ago. More daring. After the screams, 2 district officials were killed immediately, covered in blood. And Hugwa said with a scared face, Who are you? We people of the emperor. As soon as Kwaka heard this name, he immediately calmed down. His whole body softened and fell on the ground. Ha Kwang is a serious sin, sorry.